What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to be the best and the most valuable video that I have ever put out in the history of my content journey. Because in this video, my goal is for you to have actionable steps. So once you do watch this entire video, you can actually take action and start moving towards making a better life, making more income, and most importantly, making money online. If you're new here, allow me to introduce myself. So my name is Asher Shaw. I grew up in Queensland and also Perth. When I left school, I went into construction, FIFO, and thinking that was what I was meant to do. I then realized I wanted more in life. You know, I saw all these kids making millions online and they were the same age as me. And I wanted that freedom. I wanted to go and be like that. And I wanted freedom because I was working construction and I was working FIFO and I was making good money, but I was never getting anywhere. So then I went into online business. I tried a bunch of different side hustles from dropshipping, SMA, delivery businesses, and all those business models failed until I started selling digital products. And after a couple months, I managed to replace my income, make my first 10K a month. And in my very first year of doing this, I made nearly $500,000 profit. So everything that I know from my journey to my failures to what I've learned is going to be in this video. So this way you can fast track your results and actually get started with this. So I really want you to sit down, get a pen and paper and really lock in for this session because it's gonna honestly change your life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this started. Let's start with module 1, building the foundations for obsession. You might think of foundation, you know, setting the foundation, and you might just want to skip it. Skip over and go to the business model or how to make money or how to take payment. That is what you want to focus on. But really, foundation is everything. And this is a reason why a lot of people actually fail. And I've seen it time and time again because they don't have the foundation in place. And a lot of people have potential, have the talent, have the momentum, but they don't have that foundation built in, which means they never get to that next level, which I don't want for you. I want you to have that foundation and I want you to have that success. All right, let's get into it. So there's so much more to becoming free and to becoming successful than you might know, or finding the right product and selling a bunch of it. It's not about that. Yes, that is how you make money, but there's a lot more stuff that goes on the back end of it. And you shouldn't even be thinking about success or, you know, trying to find the best product until you've locked in with this. So to become successful, to run a successful business, to always make a lot of money for the rest of your life, to always be profitable, it always comes back to you. Now, this misconception that you need to be this super ultra successful kind of guy isn't true. Okay, anyone can be successful. You don't need to be a type of person to be successful, but you need to have successful traits that successful people have. Because, I mean, I'll be honest here, I know very successful people that drink a lot. I know very successful people that don't drink. I know very successful people, I probably shouldn't say it, that do a lot of drugs, have a lot of sex. Those are the things that you shouldn't be doing if you're successful, but they are successful. Okay, now I'm not saying go start drinking, go start doing drugs, definitely not. But there isn't a specific person that you need to become. You just need to have the traits, like I said before. And that's why sometimes when you look at someone and you go, they probably shouldn't be successful. They don't really fit the successful characteristics. But on the flip of that, they actually have the traits of being successful, you know, consistency, motivation, all these different things. But the first thing that we want to talk about is obsession, obsessing over you winning, because that is the most important thing. And I want you to actually listen to this part to really get an understanding of this, because obsession is the most important ingredient to success. It is everything. And I preach this a lot because you can have someone that is super talented, has the right skills, right mindset, but if they're not obsessed about the thing, they're gonna lose, bro. Compared to someone that maybe doesn't have the right skill sets, maybe not really entirely focused, maybe not really organized, but if they are obsessed about that thing, bro, I'm putting money on that they're gonna win. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, it might not be another 3 months, but if they keep that obsession, they will be successful, they will win. And it's the exact same for you, okay? You need to be obsessed with this. You need to really look into your future and really understand where you're going and obsess about that. For me, bro, when I was working construction, when I was in FIFO, when I was 2 kilometers underground drilling for gold, what was I thinking? I wasn't thinking about work. I was thinking about becoming successful. I was obsessing over this person that I was going to be. And then when I got into this, and what the gap actually was I was here. I was already seeing myself over here being very, very successful, but I didn't have a vehicle to get me there. And I know that's exactly where you are right now because, you know, that's why you're watching this video, right? But when I did have the vehicle, which was remote sales, high ticket sales, selling digital products, that was the bridge that took me to that successful person, making 10, 20, 30, all the way up to $70,000 in a month, multi 6 figures, traveling, being able to go and do whatever I want. That was the vehicle. But when I was back here, I was obsessing about it. So you need to do the exact same. Now, I'll also back this up with this. Now, if you don't feel that crazy obsession about something or about being successful in something because maybe you're a bit lost, that's completely okay. Because I found that when I had direction, when I knew what I was going, what I was aiming for, then I was able to be obsessed even more with getting that outcome. So it's the same for you. So once you have an idea of that vehicle, an idea of how you're going to get to that goal, then you can really obsess about it, okay? We want to look at people like Mike Tyson, Elon Musk, Arnold Schwarzenegger. All of these people shouldn't have been successful or shouldn't have excelled in their field or in their career because they were obsessed on getting that result. They dominated everyone else. They were just obsessed with their mission. They were obsessed with their vision. They didn't have a plan B. They would just go, go, go. This is what I want to do. They weren't, oh, I'm just testing the waters. I'm just going to see how I go. They were, I'm all in. Okay, with the topic of being obsessed with something, you need to understand that you don't want to be obsessed with just for the sake of being obsessed. You get me? The obsession will send you into a positive spiral. It's the same as when you spiral something negative, but this is an obsession towards something positive. So it's going to pull everything in your life upward. It pulls all your energy in, your focus, your effort, and it forces you to become something productive, very productive. When you're obsessed that you need to do something, you need to get something done, you're gonna do everything, but you've got other tasks. You're gonna do all those other tasks in a different time, let's say early in the morning, so then you can focus all your energy on the thing that you have an obsession with. Like for me, when I was working my job, I didn't have the obsession of working, right? So I just punched all that out, but I had the obsession, but I could only really do it for 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. I'd be so ready, and throughout the day, I'd be just thinking about it, and then once I had that, then I was able to really execute it. And those 2 to 3 hours after work were the most productive I've ever been. With that, let me give you an example. Let's say we've got 2 people, okay, in this scenario. They both have the goal of making $1 million cash. Person A has a plan. He wants to be a millionaire. That is his goal. But person B, he has the same goal, but he doesn't just want $1 million. He needs it to live. He is obsessed with it. He can't sleep at night because of it. He's panicking because he's 18 to 25 and he doesn't have $1 million in his bank. Person A wakes up, has breakfast, goes to the gym, goes to the beach, comes home, watches some YouTube, works a bit, searches on Google how to make $1 million. I mean, person A is still thinking about $1 million. He's still, doing cold showers, cold plunges. He's still eating healthy, going to the gym, and he says he's still locked in. But he just wants that $1 million. He doesn't need it to live. It's just an idea that he wants. For person B, he doesn't need discipline. He doesn't need focus. He doesn't need the right schedule. Everything that he does, he is obsessed with getting that $1 million because he needs it. He is controlled by just being obsessed with it. He doesn't have an option to go watch movies, to go watch YouTube, to go down to the beach. Yes, he still goes to the gym, but he is just solely focused on that obsession of becoming successful with that one thing. And that person always has that feeling of being left behind that they're not doing enough, but they're doing 10 to 12 hours a day, are fixated on this obsession, working towards this, but he doesn't feel like he's getting anywhere. And look, you might be watching this video going, well, maybe I'm person A. I'm not really fully obsessing over this. I'm watching YouTube videos right now. I don't really care that. I don't really care that much. And if that is you, that means you're not going to go as far. Now, that doesn't mean you can't change that, okay? You can change whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with your life. And this is where you choose whether you're the right person for this and you actually take action or you don't. And the biggest thing with person A and person B is that lack of vision and that obsession. Person A is really just seeing a couple days in the future, maybe a week, hoping that they reach that $1 million. But person B is stressing and can feel it and is focused in the next couple years or months, putting things in place and really taking actionable steps to get to that $1 million. And in this video, you need to work out what you and who you want to be and what you really want to get obsessed with and just go all in with that. And because for me, I always had that vision. I always had that vision of who I wanted to be, but I didn't have that vehicle. And that vision was, I would say, a little bit blurry. You know what I mean? And you're probably in the exact same boat. You have the vision, you want to do it, you want to give back to your family, you want to make lots of money, you want to travel, you want to live this lifestyle, but without the right vehicle, it is very, very difficult. But your vision needs to be bigger. It needs to terrify you. Because what happens if you don't have a big enough vision is you'll get a little bit of motivation, you'll get a little bit of vision, you'll start to get some momentum, you'll be going really good, and then you'll hit a goal where that you're satisfied with. You'll hit 10 to 20K a month and you'll go, yeah, all good, and you'll just coast, you'll just chill, you'll be, yeah, sweet. What you don't realize though, is that earning 10 to 20K a month, if you're working really hard to get there and you just start chilling, then you can start earning 20K, 17K, 15K, 10K, 9K, 8K, 5K, all the way to $0 a single month. Because you just got that momentum. But if you had the obsession of, I am going to make $1 million this year, even if you made $100,000 in a month, you would not be satisfied because you know that you need to do that every single month. So that's why the vision is so strong. And that's why having that vision and having where you're going is so important. In actual fact, there was a study done on successful people that had made billions of dollars and created massive businesses. And I went around and started asking them all the same question. What do you focus on? Your eating diet, is that what made you successful? And they said, all of them said, no. They said, oh, what about your health? Are you really focused on your health? And go, no, I want to be healthy, but nah. They said, oh, do you focus on where you're going? Do you write out your plan every single day? And they said, yes, absolutely. How are you meant to know where you're going if you haven't got a plan? So every successful person, every billionaire, every person that created $1 billion company, all created vision boards and had a clear vision of where they were going. So which means you need to do the exact same. Now, along with that, along with having vision, along with being obsessed, along with having the right vehicle is urgency. Being urgent about something is so important, bro. So important. And that's the difference between person A and person B. If you don't have urgency, bro, you will not go anywhere. You've definitely heard the saying before, but money loves speed. Money, the faster that you can do something, money will reward you. If you can get on calls with clients and close them, if you can start up a new business and start and get that running, boom. Money loves speed, bro. The faster that you can do something, the more money that you're gonna make. All right, module 2, the game plan. Turning the vision into an actual income. And that's what we're all here for. Now that it is game plan time, this is where we start putting in the actionable steps. So you have your vision, you have your mission, and you've laid the foundations of why you're doing this. What is the reason and where are you going? Now it's time to act on a real plan to get this shit done. And obviously everyone wants different things, but I'm gonna give you the exact playbook that I use because I know that's what works. And in my opinion, I think it's the easiest to digest because I was in the exact same position you're in right now. It comes through being able to sell things, sales. Okay, that is it. Now, before I give you the valuable source on exactly how to change your life, you need to understand where you're going, what you're doing, and how to actually get started with high ticket sales and successfully do it without the fluff. Now, if you're new here, let's run through what remote sales is. Now, remote closing and being a high ticket sales closer is a sales role. But what separates that from, normal sales role, or some people say the sleazy sales, what separates that? Okay, so it's different from selling cars, from selling insurance, from being a random cold caller. You are selling expensive digital products and services remotely. So there are people out there with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in different sort of spaces, okay? And they sell that information. These are people like Grant Cardone, Iman Ghazi, Alex Eubank, Shelby Sapp, TJR, Brez Scales. All these people sell information that is very, very expensive, but they don't have time to sit down there, talk to every single one of their clients and possibly sell them. And that's where you come in as the remote salesman. You don't need to own the business. You don't need to own the product. You simply are there selling. Because honestly, drop shipping, SMMA, all of those other business models that are trending right now, all of them have sales in them. Okay, so if you just simply learn sales, then any of these business models that you do eventually want to go into, if that's up to you, you're going to be successful in them. Instead of just being an expert in dropshipping or just being an expert in SMMA, be an expert in all of them. Module 3, the execution phase. Okay, so education is the step where you go deep into self-education. And I want you to really hear this because school trains you and you think that you're educated in this kind of stuff. But sorry to tell you, school educated you in the wrong thing. And for me as well, bro, I hated school. I hated learning. I hated sitting down there and learning about algebra or learning about history. I hated that sort of stuff. I'm still waiting for the day that I got to use Pythagoras theorem or whatever the fuck that was called. And the worst part about it, and it teaches you that if you make mistakes and if you fail, that's the worst thing in the world. But in life, we always make mistakes, okay? But what you need to understand is that self-education will never betray you. But what you need to understand fully and clearly is that self-education will never do you dirty, okay? And especially if it's in sales, if it's in personal development, if it's in any online business or any success, it will always do you well. So the very first step, and this is exactly what I did, is finding the right education, finding where to actually get the right knowledge to start. Now, yes, look, you can absolutely try this on your own. You can try watch YouTube videos, get the free source and all that kind of stuff. 100%. I'll give you that. And some people do become very successful doing this solo, just figuring it out. But for me personally, I want things quick. I want it quick. I want to know how to do it. I want to fast track my results. I was sick of working. I was sick of slaving away. I was sick of being broke. I wanted quick results as fast as possible. And I know that you're the exact same. And failing the trial and error and all my mistakes and not really knowing what to do, that is just going to hold me back for years. So instead, what did I do? I invested into my learning. And I know what you guys are going to say, oh, he just bought a course, or he's just, telling me to buy a course. It's not that, okay? If I told you to buy a course, well, then I wouldn't even be teaching you this right now, okay? Because courses don't do shit, all right? Courses are useless. What is not useless is mentorships and getting in the room with the right people that are winning, people who have already experienced what you're going through right now. And I learned from people that were walking the exact same path as me. So, and this is what I would say is the ticket to getting results quickly, bro. If you can fast track your results, do it. Because let me put a scenario, right? Let's say you've got person A and person B. Person A goes, I want to do it myself. I want to do it solo. I'm going to do it through YouTube. And that is it. That's fine. That's going to take them, let's say, a year. Okay, person B is, look, Like, I don't want to fail. I want the answers now. I want it quick. So person A is going to be trialing, trial, error, YouTube video, maybe a free source on Reddit, different sorts of Google searches, all this different stuff. Yes, they're going to be feeling productive and feeling that they're getting somewhere. But when it actually comes to execution, they're going to really struggle. They're going to not really know where to start. They want to ask questions. They're going to be confused. Person B is in the right space, surrounded by people that are winning, able to get feedback and continuously grow and get better and better and better. And like I said, and talking to people that have been through the exact same thing. And now in the terms of results and actually execution, the person A who didn't invest, who did it solo, probably won't see results for maybe 8 months, maybe to a year. The person that did go with a mentorship, the person that did actually surround themselves with winners and invest a little bit of money to get the right knowledge is going to see results in 2 to 3 months, maybe even quicker. And that was the exact same thing with me. I knew that I needed to get into a circle, get into a perimeter, as some would say, of people that are winning, people that are doing better than me, people that are making more money, people that surround yourself with 4 winners, you're going to be the 5th. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to show you absolutely everything, but without some sort of coaching, without some sort of mentoring, you are going to be like person A, okay? So if you do want the right coaching, if you want that right guidance, if you want help to actually get started and fast track your results, there is a link in the description to get started and get onto a call with the same people that mentored me, with the exact same people that trained me from going from a FIFO worker to making 10, 20, up to $70,000 a month completely online. So I know that they can do the exact same for you. So go check that out and best of luck. Another thing that I hear is, oh, I don't have enough money to invest. I don't feel like giving away my money. And I'm not going to pretend that this is not a real problem. You know, we've got cost of living, housing crisis, food's going through the roof, Australia's cooked. I understand that. But also, I'm not going to let you use it as a permanent excuse to not bettering your life. Because neither did I, bro. I was broke. I actually just got a mortgage, right? And I knew that in 2 months' time, I wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage. That's how broke I was, okay? I was able to flip it around just in time and get onto it. And of course, bro, if you haven't got enough money, get a job. Yeah, at least get a job, man. You shouldn't be wondering how I can start with $0. But go out and get a job and invest into the right mentorship and get started like that. Module 4, the sales blueprints. This is how to actually do sales. And this is going through the questions, going through the frame, and going through how to close someone. You're going to need this to make money. Now let's get into the sales blueprint. But I want you to like fully relax, okay? Because people overcomplicate this. People think it's all about the questions. It's all about your tonality. Let's just relax, okay, for a second. Bring it back to who we really are. And people say, oh yeah, you got to be talented for that. You got to be the right guy for that. No, you don't. Sales is not sleazy like the Wolf of Wall Street or what people tell you to believe. It's not like that. Sales is a skill, like riding a bike, like driving a car. It's a skill set. And like anything, it can be trained and it can be learned. And when you understand what you're actually doing, you'll stop feeling weird about it and it'll stop feeling scripted kind of thing. Because it'll just be natural and you'll be able to really use it to your advantage. And it won't be pushy, it won't be pushy sales. It will be simply helping the prospect get from A to B, whatever their desired outcome is. Sales is simply just a series or a line of questions that you ask to gather enough information. And then that way you can help that person, like I said before, get from A to B. And actually the prospect will make the decision by themselves. And the questions take the focus off you and onto them. Because the prospect or the customer, they want a solution. And the solution is what you sell. So you need to make sure that it's the right fit. They don't want your life story, okay? Let's be honest. The less talking that you do is the better. Because the person that you get onto sales calls with, that you close, they're not paying for your life story, your confidence, your tonality. They're paying for the results that they get. Remember that. That's why there shouldn't be any pressure because they're not there for your performance. They're there for their result. So overall, right? The questions that you ask and the goal with the question is to guide the prospect to the conclusion that they need the solution that you provide. And this is how the close will become seamless, where they simply just persuade themselves that I do need that. And this is where you don't shove it down their throat. You're asking a question, you're making them come to realize it. You guide them through their past, their present, and their future because people make decisions based on where they've been, where they are right now, and where they want to be in the future. That's it. So the past, the whole idea with that is what have they tried in the past? What has the last 6 months looked like when they've tried making money online or when they've tried to get their business back on track or something like that, whatever you're selling, okay? The past is to just understand absolutely everything. The present right now is to understand everything that's going on right now with their life. And the future is where they want to go, what they want to do. When they want it, what will it cost them if they don't do it? What will it cost them if they don't change? So the questions, they should flow and they should look something like this. What outcome are you looking for? Have you tried anything in the past to overcome this problem? Well, they'll say, I tried different business models, I tried different solutions, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't hack it. I could not be successful with it. Then you follow with the question of, well, in the past, have you tried to overcome that problem and find a solution to it? Along with what is the time time frame? When do you want this solved? And finally, consequence them. What are the consequences if they do not take action on this or they do not solve this problem? After that, you want to go into future pacing. So looking into the future, right? What does the next 6 to 7 to 12 months look like if they're not changing anything? Key with this one, when you're asking about the future, always relate it to what the time frame was. If I'm the prospect, right, I've been trying to get fit for, the last 7 months and I haven't been able to do anything. And instead of asking me, the prospect, what does life look like if you don't get fit in the next 10 years? That's too far in the future, right? You need to use that 6 to 7 months, maybe 12 months, maybe even a little bit less. Okay, we don't want to blow it out of proportion. 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, even 1 year, maybe a little bit further. It depends on the time frame that they gave you. Remember that. And also finally, asking them, what does it look like if they do take action and your life does change? What does your life look like? This will give them an understanding. They'll paint a picture. But everything with these questions is to paint a picture in your mind, the closer, to understand their life and everything that they want. Now, the way that you extract this information is not by just asking questions like a fucking robot, okay? It's by asking specific questions and getting specific answers, and then asking open-ended questions specific to their response. Then you follow it up with more questions, okay? Summarizing it. You relate it, you re-say and go over what they said. So this shows that you are listening to them, and then you move on. Because you are guiding the conversation. You know where this conversation is going. You know the framework. But we're not interrogating them or questioning them like a CIA officer. We're guiding them through a conversation, okay? And when you're doing this, you want to use a curious tone. You want to be curious. You don't want to be interrogating them. You want to be like, okay, bro, so the last 6 months, man, you've been trying to get fit. I guess, what have you done to get fit, to lose 20 kilos? It's just asking that question. And this is because I actually want to understand the person. I want to understand their past, their present, their future. And this is where it's going to build trust, and it's going to help me build an actual plan to them. Just for an example here, like I mentioned before, a fitness offer. Let's say I was selling for a fitness coach. I want to understand what they tried in the past. I want to understand if they did buy a fitness ebook and how that looked, what was missing with it. And this way I'm really curious, because then when I sell them on the fitness offer that I'm selling for, I'll be able to go, okay, this actually will help you. This and what you tried before, this is what we help with. So you're tailoring it back and you're linking up the solution to their problems, solving their problems. Very simple. Now, as you ask questions, you want to extract 4 main things. Now, I want you to memorize these because these are the spine to actually closing a deal. First is the motive. What did they want? Second is the why. Why do they want it? And third, the problem. What is stopping them? What is the roadblock? And fourth is the pain, and what pain is caused by them not achieving and finding the solution to this problem. You need to be clear and concise about this information, okay? When I say clear and concise and have a full understanding on this, do not go into pitching the price or into even the next part of the framework or the next part of your questions until you've covered and until you have a full understanding of everything in these pillars, okay? Now, once you have the motive, why, problem, and pain, you can tie every part of solution into their situation. And that's why this matters, like I was saying before. Because the person doesn't care about the deliverables, they don't care about the coaching calls, they don't care about the one-on-one help or anything like that. Yes, that's offered. Yes, that's going to help them, but they don't really care about that, okay? They want to know how that can solve the problems that they're facing and solve the pain that they're also facing and be the solution to their pain. For example, their motive is $20,000 a month. That's how much they want to make. And they want to make this in between, let's say 6 months. That's how much they want to be making. And their why is to support their family, to be able to travel, where maybe they want to buy their first house. That's their why. But their problem is, what they're facing is they have lack of knowledge. They have lack of guidance. They have lack of understanding of what to do. And a lack of vehicle. And their pain is they feel stuck, they feel lost, they feel left behind. They see all these people on their For You page buying Koenigsegg's, Porsches, and they're just like, what the f? And they also see their family struggling. They're in financial debt, they're struggling. Then every part of the solution is framed to their pain and those pillars. You get me? You don't say, oh, we've got coaching calls, we've got all these modules, we've got these daily check-ins. You don't say that, okay? You say, we offer hands-on guidance. So you stop guessing, you stop having a lack of direction. So we offer that step-by-step guidance so you can hit that $10,000 to $20,000 a month. We offer personalized fitness plans so you can lose those 20 kilos within the 6 months that you want to achieve it. And that is showing that you have the solution to their pain. Now, here is another thing. Never pitch without permission, because then you start going back and forth and it's not good. So when the prospects show his interest, you clarify why, and you ask questions to solidify that sale. Because if you jump straight into payment, straight into, getting onboarded, you're going to run into some underlying objections that you didn't uncover before. So you want to prompt prompt and move forward with questions the entire way through. If you ever find yourself listing deliverables in a boring way, you're not doing right. And you probably fumbled it, bro. Because when you list it, that sounds like you're selling. Think about like insurance sales. It's always selling, selling, selling. And it feels like pressure, and that's where you lose the prospect. Instead, you need to engage in that conversation and you frame the deliverables as questions. If you say something along the lines of, if there was a way to get more hands-on support, like you said you needed earlier, for example, having an expert to review what you're doing, would that be something that you're looking for? They'll say yes. Then you follow it up. Why do you feel like that would help? Why do you feel like that would benefit you? Then they tell you why what you offer would benefit them. This is part of them. This is them realizing that they need your solution. And then you back it up with, why do you feel like you need that? And what happens is they start to sell themselves. And that is the dream. Okay, that's where it's not sleazy. They are selling themselves and they are coming to that realization. And when it comes to the actual pitch itself, this is a very average part where people start stressing. They go, oh man, I gotta say the price. I gotta tell them the price. They're gonna think it's too much. What's gonna happen? But if you did everything correctly up until that point, then you're gonna be fine. There should be no added pressure, and having the right frame leading up to that pitch, it should flow nice and smoothly because you're not pitching for the sake of pitching. You are presenting that solution to their problem. And they already told you that they need that solution. Now, one thing that people don't really talk about when you pitch is that you need to shut the up. So with everything that we spoke to, it comes to a one-time investment of $12,000. Now, the reason why I shut the fuck up is because you, the prospect, are thinking. For me, it might feel awkward. I'm sitting there. I'm not really thinking about, I'm thinking about you. But what the prospect is thinking, and when you ask them, they're thinking of their financials. Can I afford it? Oh, is it too much? That's scary. They're in their own head. So if you're like, what do you think? Is it too expensive? It's too expensive, isn't it? It's too expensive. They're thinking about it. I've had prospects where they go thinking, and then they go, okay, can I just transfer you? Boom, piff. Just like that. So this is why it's so important to shut up. Module 5, handling the objection, uncovering fear, looping, and decision control. Now that we're getting into objection handling, this is where people kind of struggle because in this module, I'm going to show you absolutely everything. A prospect can have multiple objections layered on top of each other. And it is your job to uncover them and to extinguish them. Because if you don't handle these throughout the call, you will lose the sale 100%. If a prospect says, oh, I have an issue with cash flow, you don't just jump straight on going, oh yeah, okay, we can do a payment plan. You stay calm and you ask a question that checks for any barriers. For example, if we were able to support a financing side, would you be open to that? Is the payment the only issue? That gives a prospect that opportunity to give up any other objections or any other fear that they might have. Trust, timing, fear, uncertainty, needing to talk to their partner, not believing in themselves. But I also want to remind you of this, okay? It is always better to prevent an objection than to handle an objection. Objection prevention is the best method. And this is done before you even pitch, okay? This is why it's so important to ask the right questions. And if something feels surface level, don't move on to the next question or the next frame. Stay back and focus on that and really uncover whether it be the pain, the uncertainty, because maybe they tried dropshipping and it didn't work or they got scammed. So you want to uncover that they don't still have that fear or they don't still think that about this. Because then once you pitch the price, they go, oh, well, this could be a scam. No, now and then you've got to backtrack and do all this stuff. But if you prevented that, then it would never happen. Now with objections, it's normally fear or logistical. They legit cannot afford it. They don't have enough money in their bank account. They can't get financing. They can't get the money, or fear. They do have the money or they could get the money, but they have that fear. So the fear is where you break it into different sorts of objections. Uncertainty, fear of being scammed, fear of it not being real, fear of not believing in themselves. This is what you need to uncover. Now with the logistical one, with where if they say yes, you follow up with a question. If they say, oh, look, I really would love to do this, but I just can't afford it, man. I don't have the money. You simply ask them, well, if you did have the money, if the money was there in your bank account, would you do this? And they'll go, yeah, man, 100%. Then you follow it up with a why question. Why do you feel this way? Why do you feel like that this would be a solution for you? Because now you are reinforcing the value, and value makes it easier for money to appear. Then you can ask them, well, how can we afford this? How can you get the money to afford this? Because if they truly believe that this is what they need, they'll do it, man. It's no brainer. And the things that you can encourage is, creativity, whether they've got to sell something, credit cards, financing, loans, payment plans, whatever's ethical and aligned with the offer. Because what you need to understand is when someone says they can't afford it, you don't just want to give up there, okay? There is ways around it. There's always a solution. And a lot of the time, the I can't afford it is just a smokescreen that they're scared, they're uncertain, they're not convinced enough. And this is why your job is to clarify this, to find out what it is. And I'll give you an analogy for you to fully understand. So if someone had a dream car, let's say a Ferrari, and they only have $5,000, but you told them, look, you can have the Ferrari for $8,000. I don't know what kind of Ferrari that is. Do you think that they would find a way to come up with that money that was missing? They probably would. I mean, absolutely, because the value is insane. So it's not always the number of how much it costs. It is the value compared to the number. And my favorite way to handle objections is something called looping back onto them. Most people get an objection and they panic. They go, fuck, got an objection. It's too much. What do I do? And when you panic, you lose rapport. But when an objection happens, it simply just means that the prospect is not fully certain or not fully sold. So if they say something along the lines of, this is a really good deal, but I just want to think about it. You don't argue, you don't lose your temper. You simply just say back, look, I completely understand that. Let me ask you though, and let me run this by you. Do you believe that without the solution that I have provided you with today, you'll be able to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? They say, yes, look, absolutely your solution will help me achieve it. You follow up. Do you feel like you are actually willing to put in the effort and to make this work? If they say yes, you simply summarize it. So you believe in yourself. You believe that this will help you. So with that being said, you are ready to get started. If they say yes, then move forward with the payment, move forward with the financing, move forward with the plan to get the money. If they say no, you continue looping. You go back again. You ask, where's the gap? You figure out what is really the objection. It's not about not getting the money. It's about maybe their belief in themselves, their fear of a previous scam or previous method that they tried to do before and it didn't work. So this way you need to really identify what is happening. Module 6, finding the right offer. Getting the right business and outreaching to the right positions. Now, finding the right offer and finding the right business and finding the right product or service to sell is where a lot of people mess up. And sometimes they even give up because they just can't find it. And they get desperate, they jump into the first offer that they get. And I know I'm guilty of this because, I've jumped into offers where I get into it, I think it's gonna be great, and it turns out to be absolutely dog shit. So in this module, we're gonna go through absolutely everything of what to do, what not to do, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. So before you actually jump into an offer or jump into with a business, you need to have a checklist, things that are criteria that you follow. Because that business that you choose, that offer that you choose will either make your life easy and livable or complete f***ing hell. So do they have good relationships, not just fancy websites, but actual proof that actual people needed what they sold? For example, if you're looking at selling a fitness offer, are there actually people that want that fitness offer? Is there actually customers? Do people generally need their product or service? Or is it just one of those things that spikes one month and is gone the next? Now, one that is very, very important, does it generate consistent results for their clients or customers? And can you actually see testimonials that people are losing weight or people are improving their business or their health or their mindset, whatever they're selling? Can you see that people, real people, are actually getting results with this? Not some generic results where they could have paid for it, you know what I mean? Also, how often are they selling their offer? Is it every single day? Is it every 2 days? Is it every week? Ask these questions. And how long have they been in business? Because longevity matters and how long they've been around is very, very important. Are they running organic traffic, which means, just posting social media and then organically doing that? Or are they running paid ads? Or are they running both? Do they have consistent lead flow? Do they consistently get calls booked in? Do they consistently have people messaging them that are ready to buy their product or service? Because as a closer and as an appointment setter, this is what you need. You need to have this because if you don't have leads, you don't have people to close, which means you don't make any money, okay? And the offer could be life-changing, but if they don't have the right marketing strategy, then it's going to be useless. So you also want to look at the offer itself. Okay, have a dive into what they actually sell. Not emotionally, but logistically. Can you understand the transformation that the product or service goes through? Can you explain it in 1 or 2 sentences? And does it actually solve a painful problem that people face? If the offer is vague or it doesn't have a target audience, and if the testimonials look fake and you can't confidently say what they actually do or what it actually solves, it's probably not very good. And that would be a very big red flag that I would stay away from. Because you've got to remember, you're going to be selling on behalf of them. So you need to be confident that you can actually help these prospects. A simple way to vet this and to understand this is to look at their content, look at the marketing that they do, their social media, their testimonials. If a business has years of experience and years of consistent growth and consistent clients, that is a very good sign, like I was saying before. If a business looks brand new, maybe not a whole lot of followers on social media, and the only proof that they actually have is these hype videos about the product, you need to be very, very careful. Now, once you have that criteria, you have an understanding of what is good, what is not so good, what to stay away from, things like that. You need a process to find the business owners quickly and get in contact with them, which I'm going to show you. The fastest method is to pick niches that you actually like. I'm talking about things that you maybe do on a day-to-day basis, things that you talk about, things that you enjoy, because this is going to mean a lot when you're selling it. And you'll be able to sell with full conviction that you actually do this. It'd be me trying to sell personal development and transformation into making money online. I'm very confident about that. I know that it works because I've done it. But if I was to sell, let's say, a beauty product or a beauty course, probably wouldn't really benefit from that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't really know how to sell it. Maybe I'm beautiful. You don't know. Anyway, things like fitness, business, financing, e-commerce, real estate, whatever it is that interests you, then what you do is you go onto Instagram. It's the best platform to find people. And you add those words to one of these words. And these words are fitness coach, business coach, mindset coach, e-com coach. And you're going to see a flood of potential businesses and potential people that you can work for and close for. Then you want to outreach at absolute volume. And volume matters because you're going to use the 10% method. And most people send 5 to 10 messages and then go, oh, this doesn't work. I want you to be sending between 50 50 to 100 messages every single day consistently. But the key with this is you don't want to be reaching out acting like a beggar, begging for a role. You want to send a simple message like this, or you can send the exact same one. Hey John, not sure if your sales team is doing this, but a 5-minute pre-call video sent at least 24 hours before the appointment can increase show-up rate and improve call quality because it frames the prospect before the call even starts. See, that message right there shows that you think like a professional, shows that you know what you're doing and you're not like an applicant, you're not applying for a job and you're actually bringing value to them. Then once you start that conversation with them and they reply, you can naturally ask if they have room on their team. And you do that from a position, like I said before, of value. You highlight the problem that their team might be facing and you offer a practical improvement. For example, let's say their show-up rate is not very good. A lot of the people are booking, but they're not getting onto the call, so they can't be closed. So your solution is to send a 2 to 5 minute video before the actual call. This way you can increase the show-up rate. That is a solution to their problem, which means you are valuable to them. Simple. Now I want you to offer your services for free. And I know this sounds crazy, but think about this, for example. Look, you don't have a whole lot of skills right now. Even watching this video, you have an idea of sales, you have an idea of objection handling, you don't have a whole lot. So you need to showcase that you can actually do what you're talking about. So offer to work for free for the first 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, look, I'll get on prospects with people that are unqualified or people that you would cancel the call with normally. Or I'll personally do outreaching to all these prospects and see if I can get them back on a call. Now time for module 7, and that is the reality of the role. Pressure, uncertainty, and growth. Now by this, you should be in some sort of sales role, closing some sort of deal. And if you are, well, congratulations, awesome work. Because some people, look, they never actually get to that time. They never actually get to that part. But now the game changes. You've done all the training, you've done all the preparation. Now you need to really just put in that effort and continue to execute on it. A remote sales role is different to the comfortable 9-to-5 life. And if you do not understand the reality of this role, it will smack you right in the fucking face. And you'll probably quit. Probably go, oh, this is too hard. But once you do understand it, once you do realize what it takes, then it can give you everything that you've ever wanted. First, there is pressure because you eat and you kill. And commission-based work holds you accountable. You don't make money unless you close a deal. And most people are not used to that. They're used to just clocking in and clocking out and getting paid. Second, there is uncertainty. Because honestly, you can have a week where you make absolutely nothing, or you can have weeks where you make 5, 10, 15, 20K, as I have. So all of that is possible. And it can be an honest roller coaster like crazy. But if you have the resilience, if you have the work ethic, which I know that you already do, then you can be really, really successful in this. You need to understand that this roadmap, this skill set is not just for you to get the right skills and then land a role and that's the finish line. No way. That is not even the starting line. It is mastering the skill, stacking cash, stacking confidence, stacking communication skills, stacking persuasion skills, stacking networking, talking to people, meeting new people, and the transformation of where you are right now to becoming that person. Because you learn sales not just to make money, you learn sales to run a business, to do personal development. Even marketing is just sales at a greater scale. And if you learn how to sell, then you will be successful in any business that you come across. It's the way that you actually win in this role is you become obsessed with doing better. You maximize your availability. You remove all distractions, partying, clubbing, gooning, all of these are gone. You get on calls, you review your calls, you get better, you do role plays, you improve and improve and improve. You fix your tone, you fix your pace, you fix your line of questions, and you kill the role for as long as possible and you become the best at that role. Because the faster you become elite, the quicker you unlock the next level. The first might take 2 to 3 months before you actually see results, but you're just building that momentum, okay? You're building. If you actually put in the work, you actually surround yourself and learn the right skills, trust me, you can stack between $10,000 to $50,000 a month consistently. And I've seen it with my own eyes. Now, module 8, attention is leverage and it's to the next level. Personal branding, authority, and independence. And this is where things get really serious. Okay, this is where you really explode your income because now you're going to put yourself on the actual map. And a lot of you guys are going to start tweaking when you start to hear this, okay? Because personal brand, posting content, filming videos sparks fear in people. It freaks them out. And fear makes people avoid the very thing that's going to change their life. So the reason you build a personal brand, the reason why you start posting content is very, very simple. Where attention goes, money will flow. Modern power belongs to people who can hold attention. If you want real freedom, not just a job that pays well, you need leverage, and attention is leverage. See, when you have a personal brand, you're no longer dependent on a company, a business to generate you leads. You become the magnet of opportunities because people know you, people trust you, and they see you as an authority in the space. It also makes everything easier because selling becomes warmer, outreach becomes easier, and credibility comes built in. See, when I started this, I was an appointment setter, I did closing, but I wanted to take it to that next level. And I was scared and I was fearful of starting a personal brand. I had never even posted anything online before. But once I did that and I got over that fear and I started, that unlocked more freedom than I could ever imagine. Now, the hardest part obviously about building a personal brand is just starting. Okay, what to post, where to post, how to do it. It is hard, I'll give you that. And when you start, it forces you to face that fear and to face judgment, which is very, very scary. I get that. And the fear of people talking, the fear of people seeing what you're doing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was shitting myself when I was posting my first piece of content. And you're gonna get hate, you're gonna get people that say things that people don't agree with you, and that's just all part of the territory. But when I tell you that it also brings so many benefits, I cannot stress that enough, okay? The pain of knowing you could have done something, you could have done more, you could have achieved greater things is far heavier and far more scarier and daunting than the pain of posting a few videos online. And honestly, bro, like, you're gonna die one day. You know, you're gonna genuinely die. And all of this fear, all this uncertainty, all of this judgment, and what people say is gonna be gone. Those people are gonna be dead, you're gonna be dead. None of it actually matters. What matters is your life and how you really wanna live it. And let me tell you that everything that you want is on the other side of fear and uncertainty and judgment. Trust me. So step one is to analyze yourself. Understand who you are, your beliefs, your values, your morals, your traits, the things that you stand by, and also the things that you don't stand by. Because a personal brand is personal. It's you. My personal brand is not yours. Your personal brand is not mine. Simple. So you need to dedicate it to what you believe and what you stand by and what you want to represent. You have some people that represent fitness, some people that represent drinking on the weekend. That's their personal brand. Some people that represent making money, some people that represent traveling. That's their personal brand. So what is yours going to be about? So I want you right now to write a clear description of who you are, what you stand for, what your mission is, and what you want your influence to be. Then you're going to build a relationship with your audience through 3 bits. First is storytelling, telling your story. This is where you share reels, YouTube videos of your story, your experiences that you've personally had. Because people are going to remember stories more than facts. The second is documentation. Where you are right now is probably the best spot to start because you can document your journey from making $0 a month all the way up to $1 million a month, even more. Okay, so that documentation is so important. Now, third is education, what this is right now. So me telling you and me educating you on the things that I've learned and sharing that to you. Those 3 methods is what's going to build an audience. And not just where people scroll and they pass, but they actually like you, they actually trust you, they actually know what you stand for and what your personal brand is about. Okay, so module 9, content that converts. Now we get into creating content that actually bangs and actually makes money. Because posting for the sake of posting, bro, is just useless. You might as well not post. And you want to build content that gets attention, builds trust, and builds motivation, and eventually converts. The first thing is SEO. And you need to understand this so clearly, okay? Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram are all search engines, okay? People are searching for solutions. And if you position your content around what people are actually searching for, you'll get discovered consistently. Second is, big thing that you want to be doing is training and tutorials, showing people. This is the value part, where you pick a problem in your niche and you solve it on camera. This builds trust fast because people follow you for the value that you exchange. You help them, they listen. They come back and then eventually buy. And the more value that you can put out, the better, bro. Give everything out for free like I'm doing right now. Third is recreations, which is one of the fastest ways to grow your personal brand. Because what people get caught up with when they think of content, when they think of making videos, they think they need to reinvent the wheel. They think they need to create something new and something that's going to go really viral, but you don't. You simply just model off people that are already going viral and doing well. You find proven content styles, content strategies, and you take inspiration from that and then remake it into your own. From the structure or the hook or the style of video or even the script. You're not copying it. Now, don't copy it word for word, please. You are taking what works and making it work for you. Very simple. Fourth is documentation, which is massively underrated because it's still so powerful. Instead of overproducing, you simply set your camera up and you tell what is happening. And you show what you're doing. You talk through the process, you show the wins, you show the losses, and you document what is happening. When I started my content journey, I was documenting myself out of the trades, okay? So I was documenting every single day, closer. And I was filming a journey that my audience was following because they wanted to see if I was able to make it out of the trades, and I did. And people are going to get really invested into you and that journey. And it's the same with weight loss. If you're documenting your journey losing weight, eventually if you're selling something or your content is aligned with you selling a solution to being fat, people that want the same result as you are going to follow the journey and then eventually buy from you. That is content that converts. Now, for Instagram specifically, understand that Instagram is an absolute king for relationships. Instagram should be where everything happens, okay? You got stories that bring your audience into seeing you every single day. If you can dial in your stories, people are going to love you. People are going to follow you. People are going to see what you're doing and make them feel like they're there every single day. Make them feel like they're on a FaceTime with you. And that's going to build an insane amount of trust fast. Now, YouTube is where the value content comes in along with the vlogging. So the difference between YouTube and TikTok and Instagram is TikTok and Instagram, you're just scrolling, right? You're just scrolling through, you go to the next video and boom, there's Sophie Rain twerking or something like that. But YouTube, people sit down and they watch and they learn and they watch your life. They consume, 10 minutes to an hour of your content. So this is where you also want to be posting consistently on YouTube, whether it be vlogs, whether it be what you've learned, whether it be documentation, whether it be mindset, whatever it is, you need to film fulfillment. So now once you have that content, attention, skills, and trust building, the next stage is monetization. And this is where everything starts to stack up and where your life will completely change for the better. Module 10, monetization, affiliates, platforms, and your own offer. So at this point, you've already done the sales, you've learned the skill, now you've done the marketing, you've got that down packed. Now you have the ability to persuade and communicate, and now you can actually monetize your audience and make money. Now I mean by offering something to your audience that where they pay you for, and that's a transaction. And this is how you do that without ruining your reputation or selling garbage or completely ruining your personal brand. Now there are multiple different ways to monetize your audience without even doing your own offer. You don't actually have to sell something yourself. This is where people come in, they go, I don't want to post content because I don't just want to create an own offer and I don't know how to. That's okay, you don't need to. The key is to monetize with integrity. Because if you promote trash, if you promote garbage that isn't going to help anyone, you're going to lose trust. And trust is a real asset because remember, people online, they watch you and they scroll, but they don't fully know you in person. Now, one of the best ways to monetize your audience without actually owning your own offer is to be an affiliate for someone else's. Now, not the cringe part where you spam links in your story and all that kind of stuff. You promote what you generally believe in and what you generally know will actually help people. Something that actually improves lives. And you refer it and you offer it to your audience. Even if you have the right affiliation to the right offer, it's going to be a very, very strong income stream. Now, another way is YouTube monetization. I know outside, now also, yes, there is TikTok shop, TikTok affiliate, but that's outside of Australia. I don't have any experience with that, so I wouldn't really know how to teach you how to do that. So getting an affiliate to an offer is the best way. Also, yes, you do have YouTube monetization, which is really, really good. And some people make serious money from just putting ads in front of their video. Another method that is really good is sponsorships and brand deals, where you simply partner with a business and get paid to promote their product or service. Another method is exclusive content. Now, chill out. I know what you're thinking. OnlyFans, Pornhub, not that kind of stuff, okay? I'm talking about behind the scenes content, where people pay a monthly retainer to see a deeper version or a different light or something that, wouldn't get shared publicly. I mean, training, community, extra value. And this is where you also build a very, very loyal audience. Now, module 11, execution is everything. Action, identity, and sustained success. Now we get to success, and this is where people get very delusional because they think success is this vibe and it's easy and it's amazing. But success is only like 10% of what you actually do and what you actually see. They think it's just freedom, travel, nice things, nice cars, nice dinners. That's success to them. But what they forget is the most important part. And that is none of this stuff, none of the success, none of these fancy dinners, these fancy cars happens if you do not take action. None of it. Watching this video does not change your life at all. Yes, you get knowledge. Feeling motivated does not change your life. Only action is going to actually change your life. And most people just don't act at all. And it's why people stay exactly where they are for the rest of their life. So ask yourself the brutal question. Are you actually willing to put in the effort that's required? Is your why big enough? Does your reason for getting started this and your motivation scare the out of you? Are you willing to go through discomfort, hard times, struggles? Are you willing to stay consistent? Keep going even when you don't see results? And if the answer is yes, then you have a real shot. But you need to really understand what's going to come next. And remember this next thing that I'm going to tell you because I'm telling you from experience. When you start seeing momentum, results, you will become complacent. You will get a bit lazy. Freedom creates comfort, and comfort creates laziness. And laziness kills momentum. The remedy is vision and obsession, because vision keeps you pointed and where you're going, and obsession will keep you moving consistently. And when you remember what you're building and what you're doing this for, complacency won't even be an option. You need to be ready to outgrow people, leave people, behind. And you're going to create a gap between you and the people that you grew up with, even your family, and the people that you call your friends now. And this is that phase where you start to just outgrow people. You start to do things differently. You don't go out clubbing anymore. You don't go out drinking. You don't go out doing these degenerate things that are just wasting time. You are focused and you are obsessed, and you can't even hang out with some people that you used to hang out with because you're just different now. And that is completely okay. That is part of it. Let me tell you from experience that when you get to the position that you're going towards and the goal that you're going towards, there will be people waiting for you that will be your friend. So the point of this roadmap and why I'm sitting here making this video is so that you can go from where you are right now, working a normal job, working a trade, working FIFO, to then sacking skills, marketing, sales, communication, objection handling, and then turning those skills into freedom and into a better life than what you're living right now. Not through luck, not through magic, but through actual hard work and actual dedication. Now take these modules and go back through them and implement everything step by step, because your journey doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when you act, which brings me to module 12, systems over motivation, scale and long-term freedom. Now I want to talk about the part that no one really wants to talk about, and it's not sexy. It's not a highlight reel. It doesn't make for a cute TikTok or even a good TikTok. but it makes a difference between the person that tastes success and someone that actually keeps it and builds something real. And that part is systems. Because if you do not build systems, if you do not create systems, you are not building freedom, you are not building anything. And the only thing that you're building is a prison for yourself. And it's a prison that's going to pay you a little bit more than what your job is paying you. Now, when I say systems, what do I mean? Look, I mean the boring stuff. It stops your life from falling apart the moment you start making money. Your schedule, your lead flow, your follow-up, your call review process, your pipeline, your content plan, your learning plan, the way you track your performance, the way you track your weak points. Because if you do not track, you cannot fix. And if you cannot fix, you will stay average. Simple as that. And the average people always end up back where they started, and they always just do this loop every single year. Don't be like that. And a lot of you are trying to win off motivation of getting there. But motivation is bullshit and it's garbage. All right, it's not going to get you to where you want to go. You need actual structure. You need actual systems. You need a weekly rhythm, a weekly routine that forces you to execute even if you feel tired, or even when you feel bored, or when no one's clapping for you, you still get what you need to get done. That is literally the whole game. To build a system that continuously makes you money, that continuously works while you're not actually there. That is the system. That is where you're going to achieve complete freedom. So here's how you actually think about it. Every week have your inputs and your outputs. Inputs are things like your calls, your outreach, your content, your learning, your role play, your sleep, your diet, your training, your environment, your network. Outputs are your commission, your closing rate, your show up rate, your booked calls, your content views, your followers, your leads, your money in the bank. If your outputs are weak, you do not cry, you do not complain. It is a simple result of your inputs. And that's how people win. And for the people that want to turn this into a business and they want to actually print endless amount of money and a lot of money, listen very, very carefully, okay? Because this is for you. Business is not magic at all. Business is a system that creates leads, turns leads into conversations, turns conversations into clients, fulfills clients, gets results, collects proof, and then repeats the system over and over and again. That is your system. If your system is strong, you can scale it. You can get bigger and bigger and bigger and more and more and more. If your system is weak, then you're going to cap out, okay? Same thing. And when I say system, it's meaning like hiring different people to actually do things for you. So if you got 10 people that are doing different jobs and they're putting in 2 hours a day, now you got 20 hours on the business, all doing different things. There's no way that you could do all those jobs 20 hours a day. You got to sleep, right? So that's where hiring people, that's a system, and that system works like a machine. Now for module 13, becoming very dangerous. Stacking skills that multiply. So I'm going to explain why stacking skills and stacking high income skills actually means and what to actually do with it. So skill stacking is not you just learning 20 random skills that you might use. Skill stacking is mastering a few core skills that multiply each other and then create leverage. Sales, marketing, communication, copywriting, leadership, persuasion, those are skills that work together and create more leverage. And that's why sales is so important, because sales is the foundation. And that's how money enters your life, through sales. And marketing is just the amplifier that brings in the sales. Content and posting on social media, that is the distribution of it. And that leadership, that skill set, that allows you to build teams, build systems, and actually be a leader to the business and the people that you work with. And if you master sales, but you don't understand marketing, well, you can still make money, but you will always be dependent on the person that's bringing you leads to make the sale, which makes you kind of vulnerable. If you understand marketing but cannot sell, you might get a lot of attention and a lot of people to your product, but you can't sell them, meaning you don't make any money, and you'll simply be another broke Instagram creator. If you can sell and market but you cannot communicate online and build attention, you are then capped because you have no leverage. If you have all these skills but you cannot lead, you're a bad leader. You cannot scale because you cannot build teams, and you cannot train people and be a leader towards them so that they can reward, and you can't work together. And this is why I'm telling you not just about high ticket sales, but about everything else. And that high ticket sales and that sales is just the entry point. And I want to make something clear, because I know some people are going to twist this with what I say. The goal is not just to be a remote closer. The goal is not just to be an appointment setter forever. The goal is to use appointment setting, closing, to then go to that next step and to become dangerous. Because once you learn appointment setting, once you learn closing, then you'll be able to teach that. And that's why learning the skills and skill stacking is so important, so that you can be a leader and teach all of that and create and scale and become a dangerous. Module 14, the comfort trap. This is how momentum dies. Now we're going to talk about the part where a lot of people self-sabotage themselves. And I've even had some personal experience with this. And I can speak out of the honesty of my own heart, because I've been through this and I want you to prevent yourself from going through this. So a lot of people will get to $10,000 a month. They'll be earning a consistent $10,000 to $20,000 a month, and they'll start feeling themselves. They'll start buying, they'll start flexing. They'll start thinking that they're done. They made it. they're sweet. They start going out again, they start drinking, they start partying, they start going off their normal schedule, their routine. They start buying dumb shit, start eating food, eating unhealthy, and they fall off. And then they act confused. They act, why did this happen? Why has this happened? Why am I in the position that I'm in? Understand that the first level of money is not success. It is proof that you can actually execute on it. It is proof that you can learn. It is proof that you can actually change. And it is proof that the old identity of you was a lie and not really you. That is what it is. That first bit of money, that first taste of freedom, that is the proof that you can actually do it. And if you treat the proof, that 10K, that 20K as the finish line, you are cooked, bro. So what you need to do is shift that proof and that thought of that money into a moment in time, into a little celebration. Okay, what's the next goal? What's the next milestone? And the process is like this. Once you're making money, your job is to protect the momentum. Momentum is very fragile, okay? Very, very fragile. And your momentum will die if you get comfortable early. And momentum dies if you start comparing yourself. Momentum dies when you stop putting in the input that actually got you the momentum in the first place. And if you lose that momentum, you have to use twice as much input to get that momentum back. Once you've got that momentum, right wave as long as possible, never get off the board. And this is again why vision matters, because your vision should be the anchor. Your vision tells you what you are building. Your vision tells you that you're not just trying to get to a little month or a little successful month or just replace your income. You're building something that is built to last and it's going to change your bloodline, generational wealth type shit. That should be your vision. And I'll tell you honestly, when I first started this, all I wanted, my vision was just to replace my income. I just wanted to get out of working tirelessly and living week to week. And then when I did that, I was like, oh, I did that in a couple months. And I was like, well, and I'll be honest, I did get complacent for a little bit, but then I changed my goal and I changed my vision to buying my first house, making over $1 million a month. That is still my goal. And I hit little milestones of 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 70K a month. And even bigger ones, retiring my parents. You know, do you really think I'm going to celebrate even $100,000 a month if my goal is to make $1 million a month? No, I'm not even going to celebrate when I get to $1 million a month because I'm going to have another goal backed up to $2 to $3 million a month. So that's why having these small goals is so stupid. And the goals that you should set should scare the fuck out of you. And that brings me to module number 15. Your environment is the game and why most people snap back. Now I'm going to talk about something that's going to save you years of pain. Years of pain. And if you're watching this video, you're going to understand it very, very early, which is very, very beneficial. Your environment is either building you up or it's breaking you. Most people try and change their life and become a different person, but they stay in the same environment that created the person that they are right now. And that's what's going to snap them back. If your phone is on all day, every day, you are just scrolling, you are not serious about this. If you're around people that mock you about your ambition, that tease you, that make fun of you, that you want to be successful, you are not serious. If you're eating like shit and you have a bad physique, you are not serious. You need to get serious about this and you need to change your environment. You need to think strategically about how your environment is affecting you and your future. Remove distractions, remove apps that steal your attention, stop being a dopamine addict, stop gooning, clean up your space, clean up your looks. You need to build a daily routine, remove people out of your life that aren't benefiting you and making your life better. For me personally, I used to be around a lot of the wrong people, doing drugs, drinking every single weekend, blowing all the money that I had and just destroying my life. That was the wrong environment. I had to remove all of those distractions out of the environment to then become the person that would be better. Now, module 16, results are overhyped. This is how real businesses are built. So now we're going to be talking about building your own business. If you want to take it to that next level where you become and you create your own offer, then this is going to be for you. Now, and obviously we don't want to turn into those like slimy, and a lot of people think that when you build an own offer, you're just going to be manipulating your audience and just selling garbage, over-promising, selling dreams. And if you do that, you might make some money and you will destroy your reputation. And your reputation is the asset that makes you money in the long term forever. So the rule is simple, okay? Very, very simple. Your offer must be results-based. Its focus is not to make money, but to get your clients or your customers the results that they want. Simply solving the problem. Your offer must have proof. Your offer must have clear deliverables that actually create the transformation. And the fulfillment must be very, very strong. Remember that. Because fulfillment is what creates retention. And the testimonials and the results are the real brand. They are the fruit of your hard work, your results. And simply just don't sell what you can't deliver. Don't sell what you don't believe in. Don't sell something that you wouldn't buy yourself. Because if you do this, you're going to hate yourself. You're going to feel guilty for selling something that you know won't be able to help them. And your hate's going to leak into your voice. Your audience will start to feel that. Your clients will start to feel that. Your leadership will go down because you won't have that passion and you won't have that love for what you're selling. And that's when you start to lose trust. That's when everything will start to crumble. A lot of people, when they go into making money with their audience or posting content to make money, they go into the monetization phase through affiliate marketing, which is very, very powerful, sponsorships, brand deals, YouTube monetization. But eventually you're going to want something that's your own thing and something that you can control. And building your own thing doesn't need to be fully complicated with all these different systems and all these workers. It really can be very, very simple. It can be just a simple program. It can be simple modules. It can be coaching. It can be a service. But what overall matters is the transformation and the proof that you can actually deliver on what you are selling. Because if you can, you will always be able to make money. Simple as that. Now for module 17, from operator to builder, how real scaling actually works. So now we get into scaling. Now we get into building something and then scaling it bigger and bigger and bigger and better, making more money, but we need to be ready for scale. And this is where the amateur or the unexperienced mindset gets exposed, because amateurs think scaling is just doing more work, more content, more calls, more outreach, more everything. But that part is actually in the beginning. Scaling is actually where you're doing less of the work and more work on the right stuff that actually moves the needle forward, while building people and systems around you to make that work. This is where thinking in terms of leverage. How do I create lead flow without relying on my mood? How do I make my sales process or my show up rate better? How do I fulfill and how do I deliver on my deliverables consistently every single time? How do I hire someone that will do my tasks as good as me? Now, the first part of scaling is hiring people, hiring someone to replace you and to take the weight off your shoulders. If you're doing content, marketing, editing, filming, closing deals, calling clients, fulfillment, that is too much, okay? You need to hire someone for each individual task, which means you need to multiply yourself. The only way that you're going to actually reach financial freedom is by multiplying yourself. So you need to hire someone that removes the friction, someone who helps you manage, the setting process, the sales process. This is where you hire remote closers. You start hiring setters. That all works in team. Then you hire a sales representative. Then you hire a sales coach for them. You hire an editor for your content, a filmer, your admin, all of this stuff. Now, this might seem scary and stuff like that, but you start doing one by one, okay? For me personally, I have an editor, I have a scripter, I have someone that manages my content, I have a YouTube editor, I have a YouTube manager, I have setters, I have closers, I also have a manager for all that. So, and this is the thing with scaling. You start with one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, and you go build up. Hiring a bunch of people at once probably isn't going to be the best. It's going to be too nerve-wracking. You won't really know what to do. And this is why it is so important to understand the skills before you hire someone, so that when you know that they're doing something wrong, you can pull them up on it. Let's say you hire an appointment setter so that you don't have to worry about the DMs anymore. You go, okay, bro, you fucked up on this message, redo this. You get what I mean? Or you did this bad, you said this wrong thing. Same with closing. You can actually teach the closers how to do something, which then goes into module 18, and that is scaling with leverage, systems, delegation, and doing less to make more money. Now, I want to address something that a lot of you are going to face, but you're not sort of expecting it. And that is the identity shift. And that's what comes with winning. When you start making money, when you start getting attention, when you start improving, the world will react around you. Some people will support you and go, well done, mate. Many people will not. And unfortunately, that's just the way people are. And the ones that don't support you will try and pull you down. And the worst part about this is sometimes it's your mates. And the worst part about this is sometimes it's the people that were your best mates. But it's not because they hate you personally or anything like that. They still like you. But your growth threatens their comfort and shines a light onto what they're doing with their life, because you both were at the same position. And this is that whole thing where you start to outgrow the people that you hang out with. And honestly, bro, it can be pretty lonely. It can be a very, very lonely journey. It can feel weird. It can feel uncomfortable. You can feel uncertain. You can feel confused. But you need to understand something, right? If your past is keeping you small and your circle is keeping you where you are right now, your past is not loyalty. It is simply just a chain. It's just keeping you where you are and it's keeping you comfortable. Everyone around you is happy because you're not excelling anymore and you're not doing anything with your life, which makes them feel good because you guys can be doing nothing together. But the moment that you step out of that, that's when it becomes a threat. And that's when you break that chain and you go bigger and better. You need to be willing to shred and get rid of that identity, right? That version of you that's stuck in construction, stuck working every single day, working FIFO, stuck around those people on site. That vision had traits, habits, beliefs, routines that matched that lifestyle. And if you want a life that makes you $500,000 to $1 million a year to $2 million a year, your traits and habits need to match that life. So they need to be something completely different. This is why I'm coming down to that foundation, the vision, the why, the urgency, the identity, the obsession. These are not motivational words. They are drivers of your behavior and what you do every single day. And that's what's going to determine your outcome, whether you're successful or average. Now, in module 19, the mission above money. Why money is just the tool and not the point. Now, I'm going to bring this home with the most important parts of the whole blueprint. And that is do not worship money. Please. Money is just the tool to get you to where you want to go. It is not the mission, it is not the goal. It is just a side effect of the value and the skills and the execution. If you chase money and that being the main thing, the money will run. You become empty, become soulless basically. And you start making stupid decisions, emotional decisions. You start promoting garbage. You start promoting things that don't align with you. And you start lying. That's bad. And yes, look, you might win in the short term. It might be good. You're like, oh yeah, I made a quick buck here. But remember, quick money never lasts. Okay, and that will eventually ruin your reputation. So your mission should be bigger than you, bigger than money. And it can be many things. It can be serving God if you're religious. It can be changing lives one by one. It could be building something that makes your family proud, generational wealth and spreads throughout your bloodline. It could be becoming the strongest version of yourself and being able to help and pull people up with you. Whatever it is, it has to be bigger than just that car, bro. It has to be bigger than that house. It has to be bigger than just your bank account, because that's what's going to get you out of bed every single morning, even when things are bad, even when things are good. And yes, it's going to get hard. Yes, it's going to get difficult, but nothing worthwhile ever came easy. And that's why not a lot of people are successful. You're going to have weeks where you doubt yourself. You're going to have low points. You're going to have points where you just go, this, but that's all part of it. That's literally the journey. And you'll find that is actually the best part of it. It really wasn't about the money or the fast cars or, these things you bought, but it was about the person you became, the transition, the people you met, the challenges you faced, the downs, the ups. It was about all of that. And that's life. That's really what it was about. And last but not least, which is module 20, is execute or stay the same. The line between the spectators and the builders. So here is what I want you to do right now. I want you to take this entire blueprint, this entire step-by-step, all of these modules, and I want you to stop treating it like it's just a video. Watch it back, write down notes, and watch it like you're actually building something. Watch it like you're building a Lego house and you need to follow these steps to create the house. Pick module 1, start it. Pick module 2, start it, and so on and so on and so on, until it becomes your reality. If you're at the beginning, lock in on the foundations and the education. If you're ready to enter sales, go find businesses. Do outreach, role plays, get the reps in, bro. If you're ready to build attention and start posting content and taking it to that elite level, then start posting, start documenting, grab your phone out and start filming. If you're ready to scale, build a team, be a leader, then just start, man. Hire your first employee, hire your first editor. But through all of this, keep your vision in front of you and know exactly where you're going. Don't get distracted, don't get comfortable, stay focused. And these next couple of years are so important that you need to really lock, bro. And ladies and gentlemen, the entire reason that this works is because it's built on skills that compound. Sales, marketing, content, consultation, communication, influence, leadership. These things just don't disappear. All right, these are skills that compound together. These things do not betray you. These things build you into someone that can win in any economy, any situation, any life, and most importantly, any industry and any business. So no more excuses, no more, I need to wait, I'm not ready, shut the f up. Now you need to act. You need to understand that nothing happens, no success comes your way if you do not take that first bit of action, if you do not take the first step, take the first initial step into going in the direction that you want to go. And watching this video is not taking the first step. If you watch this video and do nothing, that would be a complete waste. And sadly, a lot of people that do watch this video are not actually going to implement what I've spoken about today. They feel inspired for an hour, they got some free game, but they never actually execute it. That is the reason why they're broke, why they're in the same position, and never going anywhere in life. So before you do anything else, ask yourself this question. Are you actually willing to do what is required? Is your why big enough? Does it scare the fuck out of you? Are you willing to delay gratification and not get the results straight away? Are you willing to lock in when nobody is watching, when nobody is clapping for you? Are you willing to stay consistent when it gets boring, when you don't see results? If your answer is yes, then you know exactly what to do. Go back through each and every module and start implementing. Along with that, if you are looking for that extra guidance, you want that help, you want that person, you want that accountability. Like I said before, there is the exact same mentors that took me from 0K a month all the way up to 70K a month in my very first year. So if you want that, click that link in the description and book on a call and get started with them ASAP, because they're going to fast track your success and get you results that you couldn't even dream of. But overall, that is it from me. Thank you so much. I hope this was of value. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comment section or send me a message on my Instagram. I'll happily answer them. But thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.